Once, a thief stole an incredibly expensive and rare diamond from a mansion. The police watched the security camera footage and followed the criminal to this creepy place. Look at this picture attentively and try to spot the culprit. The thief is hiding behind gravestone number 7. Have you noticed their hat peeking out? Now, look at these 3 girls on a hike. They all seem to be friends, but in reality, one of them is an imposter. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the girl on the right. In fact, it's not a girl whatsoever. It's a guy. This person seems to be blonde, but look at his arms. They're covered with thick, dark hair. Okay, he might still be their friend, you might say. But look, he isn't wearing a friendship bracelet like the other 2 girls. Both of these women claim to be this kid's mother, but one of them is lying. Think hard and expose the fake mum. The lady on the left has the same hair and eye color as the kid, but the second one has 2 moles in the same spots as the child. Plus, she's wearing a bracelet depicting a baby.
2 sisters went on a hike. Each of them took a box of matches. Nellie put her matches in a bag together with toothpaste, and Shelley decided to store her matches in a bag with nail polish. While the sisters were walking through the forest, they accidentally fell into a huge puddle. When they got out of it, Shelley suggested making a fire to dry their clothes and cook something to eat. Both sisters took out their matches. Unfortunately, Nellie's matches were covered in toothpaste, and Shelley's were in nail polish. Both girls left the matches to dry in the sun and left to collect some firewood. It started raining, and all the matches got soaked. But 10 minutes later, the sisters still managed to make a fire and toast some marshmallows. Whose matches did they use? They used Shelley's matches. The nail polish dried and made them waterproof. If you don't keep it, it'll break. What is it? It's a promise. Susan was asked to describe her sons. She said, "They're all redheads but 3, all blondes but 3, all brunettes but 3, and all pink-haired but 3. How many sons did Susan have? The answer is 4. 1 redhead, 1 pink-haired, 1 brunette, and 1 blonde. Lisa was a famous top model. She was found unconscious in her dressing room during a photo shoot and taken to a hospital. Doctors said she had a severe allergic reaction. But when Lisa came to herself, she insisted she hadn't eaten anything all day. The model's manager was very concerned and interrogated everyone who had been around Lisa. The stylist said she had applied Lisa's makeup and, indeed, hadn't seen her eating anything. The cleaning lady said she had cleaned the dressing room with organic, non-allergenic products. Lisa's main rival, Nora, said she had been watching the shooting all day long. She hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Who's the culprit? It was the stylist. Lipstick was the only thing Lisa could have swallowed that day. Look at the pictures. Which of these people is a risk taker? The girl is risking less. She's sitting on the second floor, and there's a pool below. The guy is risking more. The building he's sitting on is taller. You can see clouds and planes in the sky. What food can you never cheer up? A blueberry, because it's always blue. Haha. Okay, let's move on. There are 5 lemons in a bowl. You take away 3 of them. How many lemons do you have now? Well, you have the 3 lemons you took. King Gerald has a very beautiful daughter named Teresa. 4 princes from different countries came to the kingdom, hoping to marry the girl. But the king decided to check how smart they were and organized a special contest. Teresa was in the center of a 200 by 200 foot room, and the princes were standing on small boxes in each corner of the room. The first prince to touch Teresa's hand would become her husband, but they weren't allowed to leave their places or use anything but their hands or wits. One of the princes figured out what to do immediately. He married the princess. What did he do? He just asked Teresa to come over and touched her hand. You can easily find me on Earth, Mars, Mercury, and even Jupiter, but you'll never find me on the Moon, Venus, or Pluto. What am I? I'm the letter R. Manager George received an anonymous text message. It said a robber had just entered the supermarket where he worked. George hurried into the hall and saw 4 pregnant women in the grocery section. The man looked at the ladies attentively, detected the thief, and called the police. How did he know? The woman on the right is the only one who doesn't have a shopping basket or cart. She's putting groceries inside her fake belly. Imagine that you're in a room with no windows and no doors. How can you get out? Just stop imagining the room. Mrs. Victoria decided to give her grandson Rick an unusual gift for his 18th birthday. She called him into her room, showed the guy her safe, and handed him a corked bottle with a key inside.
Honey, this is the key to my safe. You can keep all the money you find there if you manage to open it. But you must take the key out without removing the cork or breaking the bottle. Good luck.
Rick accepted the challenge and started thinking about the puzzle. What would you do to get the key out? Push the cork into the bottle, and you'll easily get the key. Rachel had been dreaming of becoming a famous actress. Finally, her dream was about to come true. A famed talent agency had invited Rachel for an interview. She arrived at the office to meet her new agent early in the morning. There were 4 people in the conference room. Can you tell which one is Rachel's agent? This guy is the only person who doesn't have an employee badge, so he's probably a guest. This man is wearing a classy, expensive suit, but he brought coffee for everyone, so he's an assistant. This lady's mug says "World's Best Lawyer," so she's probably responsible for legal issues. And this relaxed lady over there is Rachel's agent, Zoe. Zoe offered Rachel to take a seat. Which place should Rachel choose? This chair is missing 1 leg. Someone has spilled coffee on this chair. The barista has written "The Boss" on the drink in this cup and left it on the table next to this chair. And someone has left a sweater on this chair. So, Rachel has only one option, and here it is. First of all, Zoe decided to check how smart Rachel was and offered her this puzzle. She used 3 pencils to make this triangle. Rachel's task was to create a perfect square by moving just 1 pencil. Can you help her? Here's the answer. After the meeting, Zoe unboxed a delivery from a popular writer. He sent Zoe his new masterpiece in secret. Zoe didn't say anything about this to her colleagues, but one of them was actually trying to steal the script. Can you guess who this person is? It's the assistant. He's using his front camera to take pictures of the mirrored ceiling while Zoe is looking through the script. Zoe brought Rachel to her first audition. Rachel joined other actresses in a line. They were all competing for the lead role in a new series. The main character had poor eyesight, so all actresses put on fake glasses to get into character. Rachel didn't do well enough, and another actress, Sally, got the job. Rachel was very upset. But suddenly, Sally fell to the floor. She was unconscious, and Rachel called an ambulance. Doctors said that someone had poisoned Sally. But all the actresses ate the same snacks and drank the same water. Doctors checked the food, and it was fine. Can you guess what happened there? This actress gave Sally a wet wipe to clean her glasses. The wipe was poisoned. The next day, Rachel arrived at a theater to meet Stan. He was a famous director. She noticed 5 weird things about this place right away. What about you? Can you see them too? Something's wrong with the gravity. In particular, with this chandelier that isn't hanging from the ceiling as it should. The wind that the fan creates is blowing to the right, but this actress's hair is flowing to the left. There are human footsteps on the ceiling. The spotlights are red, but the lighting on the stage is blue. And this ballerina's shadow is falling in the wrong direction. Stan introduced Rachel to his favorite actors, Josh, Steven, and Tyler. They were triplets that always joked around. But this time, they agreed that one of them would tell the truth, and the other 2 would lie. They told Rachel about their game. She had to guess their names. The first guy said that he was Josh. The second introduced himself as Steven, and the third guy said, "The second person always tells the truth." Can you figure out who is who? If the third guy is telling the truth, then so is the second. But only one brother was supposed to be honest. So the third guy must be lying. This means the second brother is lying too. So then, the first guy must be telling the truth. He is Josh. The second guy is neither Josh nor Steven. He's Tyler. And the third brother is Steven. Stan offered Rachel to play a princess in his new production. Rachel went to the dressing room to apply makeup. Suddenly, she heard a scream. Rachel ran out of the room and saw the main star of the play on the stage covered in paint. Rachel questioned the suspects. Ron, an assistant, claimed that he'd been eating his sandwich on the balcony when it happened. Lily, a stylist, was on the phone with her husband. And Stacy, a cleaner, said she'd been cleaning the bathroom at that moment. Who's guilty? Ron. He's holding a sandwich, and it's still unwrapped. Now that Rachel got a job, she needed a place to stay in Hollywood. She started looking for an apartment and went to 3 agencies. Each agency showed her one apartment. Rachel liked them all, but when she examined the apartments, she realized that there were scammers among the realtors. Rachel looked at the documents attentively. Which apartment should she choose? Rachel chose the third option. The first apartment is on the 6th floor. But that's impossible because the building only has 5 floors. And according to the description of the second apartment, its construction will be finished in 2025. This is 2022, by the way. But Rachel needs an apartment immediately. Rachel rented the third apartment and moved in right away. But something was wrong with the bathroom there. Can you see it? How is she supposed to flush? Can you see anything weird here? There's no shower drain. Rachel heard the doorbell ring. Her neighbors, Peter and Victor, brought her 2 cakes, but only one of them was edible. Can you tell which one? Victor's cake is sprinkled with almond flakes, while Peter's cake is decorated with human nails. The next day, Zoe texted Rachel to check how she was doing. Rachel sent her this selfie and said, "Alone at home, learning my lines." Zoe sent Rachel this reply,
What a liar you are!
"Why?" If Rachel's alone, who's that guy? Zoe took Rachel to a party and introduced her to Nick, an eccentric billionaire who was financing one of Zoe's movie projects. They had a brief conversation, and then Rachel lost him in the crowd. In a while, Rachel noticed 3 guys facing away from her. Each of them looked exactly like Nick. Can you tell who the real Nick is? This guy has a tattoo on his hand, while Nick didn't have it. And this guy's suit is fake. They wrote the brand name with a mistake. Abby was a college student. Every day before classes, she packed a sandwich for lunch. And her meal disappeared from her backpack every single time. After Abby was left hungry once again, she got very angry and decided to track down the thief. The next day, she left her bag in the classroom, hid in a locker, and started waiting. Abby noticed someone pull the sandwich out of the backpack, but she didn't see their face. She decided to ask everyone about the stolen sandwich. Liam said, "How dare you? I only eat fruit salads." Jason said, "My granny made this sandwich for me." And Chuck said that he just bought his sandwich in the school vending machine. Who's lying? Abby didn't have lettuce in her sandwich, so it must be Jason who stole it. Abby passed her first test in college and decided to throw a party. She invited all of her friends. That was also the evening when Abby found out that one of them wasn't human. Can you tell who? It's Henry. Both of his shoes are for the right foot. During spring break, Abby organized a garage sale to sell some of her old dresses. After a while, Abby got her first customer, Tina. The girl picked only one dress and asked Abby, "How much for this dress?" Abby answered, $30. Tina didn't want to spend that much, so she asked, "Could you sell it for $20? Abby agreed. Tina gave her $50, but Abby didn't have any change, so she went to her neighbor to ask for help. The neighbor gave Abby 3 notes, 2 20s and 1 $10 note. Abby came back, gave $30 to Tina, and put the remaining $20 in her wallet. A few minutes later, the neighbor ran into Abby's garage and shouted, "That note you gave me is fake! Give me my money back!" Abby had to give the man her own money. How much money did she lose? Well, firstly, Abby gave away the dress for free, and its full price was $30 before the discount. Then she had to pay $30 out of her own pocket to her neighbor. So, Abby lost a total of $60. Abby invited her best friend Nina to go skating in the park. Soon, they got really hungry and decided to buy some burgers. They chose similar toppings and added lots of sauces. 10 minutes later, Nina got very sick. Abby had to call 911. Paramedics took the girl to a hospital and diagnosed severe poisoning. Can you tell which sauce was poisoned? This one. Abby didn't use any garlic sauce. When Nina got better, Abby took her for a walk. They spotted the spookiest house in the neighborhood and decided to check it. That was a big mistake. When they got inside, the door behind them suddenly disappeared. Now they have 3 ways out. There's a zombie behind the first door. A creepy vampire is waiting behind the second door. And there's an angry ghost behind the third door. Which way is the safest? they should choose the third door. Ghosts may be spooky, but they can't cause any real harm. Okay, well, maybe you might get slimed, but... Nina and Abby found themselves in the next room. The door leading outside was open, and they ran toward it. But an old witch popped out of nowhere and yelled,
Not so fast. You've got to solve my riddle first. Why are these words in such an order?
Nina and Abby failed to crack this riddle. What about you? Here's the correct answer. The words rhyme with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why they're in this order. The witch teleported Nina and Abby to her basement, but the girls didn't give up and found 3 ways out again. The room behind the first door was filled with toxic gas. It was extremely harmful to their lungs and skin. There was a 300-pound weight above the second door. It'll crush anyone or anything that steps inside. And a hungry tiger was waiting behind the third door. Abby and Nina hesitated for a while and made the right choice. Which door did they choose? Nina took off her boot and threw it on the floor in the second room. The weight crushed the boot, and the girls ran into the room and closed the door. After that, they escaped through the window. Unfortunately, they got lost in a magical forest. It was cold since it was winter. After wandering around for a while, they saw 3 roads. All of them seemed dangerous. If they picked the road leading to the left, they'd have to go past some hungry wolves. And if they went straight ahead, they'd have to go through a village where werewolves lived. And the third path went over a lake covered with thin ice that could crack at any moment. Which way should they choose? They should follow the second path. Look at the sky. It's a new moon, and werewolves are only dangerous during a full moon. Nina and Abby got home safely. But someone had burgled their apartment while they were absent. They called the police, and they questioned 3 neighbors. Jeff said, "I was away all weekend, fishing with my friends." Holly said, "I didn't leave my home. I was painting the walls in my apartment all weekend. I love bright colors, you know." And Lucy said that she'd been singing karaoke with her friends and hadn't heard anything suspicious. Who's lying? Holly. The walls in her apartment are mostly white, but she said that she'd painted them in some bright colors. Nina got a job in a bookstore. On her first day at work, she found a vintage watch on the floor. 3 people came over to claim it. Kevin said that he'd bought this watch when he got his first salary many years ago. Violet said that she'd inherited the watch from her grandfather. And Dylan said, "This watch is priceless. My wife gave it to me for our 5th anniversary." Can you tell who owns this watch? It's Violet. She has the narrowest wrist. That's why the girl made an extra hole. Otherwise, the watch would slip off her hand. Abby went on a date with Jerry. He invited her over. But as soon as Abby got inside his apartment, Jerry turned into an evil wizard. He decided to make fun of her and said, "I'll give you a chance to get free. Just make me breakfast tomorrow. If it's good enough, I'll let you go. And if it's bad, you'll stay here forever." The next morning, Abby came to the kitchen and began cooking. When she turned away from the stove, Jerry added a whole box of salt to the pot. But when Abby served breakfast, Jerry understood that he'd have to let Abby go. What did she cook? She cooked boiled eggs. Scarlett just moved into her new apartment 3 days ago. One evening, she was reading before bed when she heard a knock on the door. She opened the door, and there was a confused man who said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just moved in here earlier today, and I thought it was my apartment. Oh, once again, sorry, and good night." Then he left. Scarlett didn't believe that it was just a mistake and reported the man to the police. Why? The problem was that the guy had knocked. If he had really thought it was his room, he would have tried to open it with his own keys. Nora lived alone in the city suburbs. She called the police and reported that someone had robbed her house and stolen her savings that she had been keeping in a pair of socks on one of her wardrobe shelves. Detective Callum arrived with the police, took a look at the room, and closed the case, claiming that the lady was lying. Why did he think so? The room was absolutely clean. If someone had robbed the house, they would have made a mess while searching for money. The person who took the money must have known exactly where it was, which is unrealistic. Mrs. Ledger is a high school history teacher. One day, she started a sudden oral test, asking students questions from the back of the book. If the students figure out the order in which she asks, they can find the answer to their question in advance. The first 3 people she asked were Atlas, Eleanor, and Gracelyn. There are Zoe, Luca, Sienna, and Victoria left. Can you guess who will answer which question? Mrs. Ledger is asking students in alphabetical order. So, up next is Luca, then Sienna, then Victoria, and Zoe. Another day, another test. Once again, Mrs. Ledger is asking students. This time, the first ones to answer were Zoe, Luca, and Atlas. In which order will she ask the remaining students? This time, she started with people with the shortest names. There are 3 letters in Zoe, 4 in Luca, and 5 in Atlas. The next one is Sienna, who has 6 letters in her name. Then Eleanor with 7 letters, Victoria with 8 letters, and Gracelyn with 9. Ellie found herself locked in a dungeon and couldn't remember what had happened. She looked around and saw a door that could have been a way out, but it required a passcode, and she didn't know it. Luckily, there was a hint. 1802-3004 0803-2611. She has just one chance, and if Ellie doesn't get it right, the dungeon will get locked forever. Can you help her decide which password is the correct one? Take a closer look. Some numbers have faded away a bit. This is probably because they had been used the most. They are 1, 2, and 6. The only code that uses all of them is the last one, 2611. It must be this one. Aurora came home after a long day at the university and was excited to eat the mint-flavored ice cream she had bought in the morning. But when she opened the freezer, the ice cream was gone. Aurora asked her 3 siblings who had eaten her ice cream, and they all denied it. Dawn said, "I'm on a diet, and I haven't been eating ice cream and stuff for a week now." Everett said, "Dude, I had my chips. There was no need to eat your ice cream this time." Phoenix said, "First, I don't like mint ice cream, and second, I was in my room all day, and I didn't even go down once until now." Who has eaten the ice cream? It was Phoenix. Aurora never mentioned the ice cream flavor, but he still knew it.
Now one day, Gemma went to a mermaid party, but one of the guests was not a real mermaid. Can you tell who it was? This shark over there is not a mermaid. Gemma's mother, Fiona, owns a cute one-story jewelry store for mermaids. She came to her store early in the morning and found out that the most expensive necklace had been stolen. She called the underwater police. Detective Fisher arrived and questioned Fiona. "I closed the store at 10 p.m. and went home. The pearl necklace was still right there." Detective Fisher identified 3 suspects. The owner of the store next door said, "I closed my door at 8 p.m. and went home right after that." The guard said, "I was on duty last night. Perhaps the thief snuck into the store when I was patrolling another floor." And the cleaning lady said that she'd finished cleaning at 4 p.m. Then she rushed home because her husband was having a birthday party. So, who's lying? The guard. Fiona's shop is a 1-story building. He couldn't be on another floor when the necklace was stolen. There's no other floor. Gemma was swimming with dolphins and reached the surface of the ocean. Suddenly, she noticed 2 handsome guys, Nick and Rick, and they were both in trouble. Which guy should Gemma save first? Rick. Although this wooden boat is a bit flooded with water, it's still okay, and Nick can scoop the water out. But this inflatable boat is damaged. Rick will soon find himself in the water, and a shark is nearby. Gemma saved both guys and brought them to the shore. Nick grabbed his phone and took her picture without permission. Gemma asked him to delete the photo because merfolk didn't want people to know about them. Nick said, "Okay, I'll delete the evidence, but first, you gotta crack my riddle. Salty water everywhere, but not sea in sight. What am I talking about? Can you help Gemma?" The correct answer is tears. Rick asked Gemma on a date, and she said yes. She went to a local witch doctor to buy a potion to get human legs for 24 hours. The door to the witch's house was locked, and the note said, "If you want to meet me, find the key first." Can you help Gemma find the key? Here it is. Gemma opened the door with the key and found another door that required a password. There was a note on the door. What has 88 keys but cannot open a single door? Can you help Gemma crack the code? It's a piano. Gemma didn't have any money. The witch offered her this deal.
If you guess my riddle, I'll give you the potion for free. But if you don't crack it, you will be my servant forever. So listen, 2 in a hole and 4 in a pack. 6 in a trio, you see. 8's a quartet, but what you must get is the name that fits just one of me. What am I?
Gemma cracked this riddle right away and got her potion. What about you? The correct answer is half. Gemma got the potion, drank it, and turned into a human. There were 3 routes she could take to get to the meeting point. The first path led through a village inhabited by vampires. The second path is full of toxic flowers that could make her lose her mind. And the third path went through an enchanted forest that blocked all magic and canceled all previous spells. Which way should Gemma choose? The first option is the safest. It's a sunny day and vampires are probably sleeping. Rick and Gemma met at a restaurant called 3 Mermaids. But there are only 2 statues of mermaids on the porch. The owner of the cafe, Victor, is well aware of this and could easily fix this. But he doesn't. Why? This is his business strategy. Passers-by notice the mistake, enter the restaurant to inform the owner, and often stay for lunch. Rick is a detective at the police station. During his dinner with Gemma, he received an urgent call from work. Jeff, a country house owner, said that his housekeeper had tried to get rid of him. The night before, the housekeeper gave him an apple for dessert. The man took a bite and passed out. He woke up the next morning and immediately called the police. Rick and Gemma went to the crime scene. The housekeeper denied everything. Gemma didn't know who to believe, but when Rick examined the crime scene, he understood who was lying right away. Who's the liar, the housekeeper or the owner? The owner said he'd eaten a poison apple. So if it happened the day before, this apple must be brown now. But it's not. The man must have bitten into it just before calling the police. Okay, I'll show you two profiles. Your task is to guess which of the two is fake. Let's start. Which profile is fake? It must be the left one. The girl is only 13 years old. She can't be doing her PhD. What about these two? The person on the right was born on February 29. It's fine, this date does exist, but there was no February 29th in 1985 because it only occurs every 4 years. So the profile on the right must be fake. The left profile is fake. Pilots are supposed to have perfect vision, so the guy is probably lying about something. Take a good look at these profiles. Okay, Pan Am and Narnia are two fictional places, so I'd say the left profile is a fake one. What can you say about these two? Well, as far as I know, 14-year-olds can't get married in Canada, so the profile on the right is fake. Now, I'll show you some photos. Your task is to guess what's wrong with them. Let's begin. Here's the first one for you. Look, this train is transporting a modern car, but it's the Wild West. There were no cars back then. Can you tell what's wrong here? It's medieval times. But look, there's a 10-story building in the background. What about this picture? Do you see anything strange? The woman is wearing sneakers. Now look closely. What seems odd here? This woman has a modern camera. I don't think people had them back then. What do you think about this photo? The mountain in the background is green. There's no snow. Keep going. What's wrong here? Look, that guy in the back, he's wearing sneakers. Not the best thing to be wearing to a ball. Plus, this kind of footwear didn't exist back then. Be very attentive. Can you spot an odd detail here? This guy has 3 hands. How handy. Ryan had a crush on a girl from his school, Amelia. Once, he got a note from her saying that she liked him. So Ryan decided to write her back and ask her to prom. Unfortunately, he didn't remember which desk was Amelia's. There were 2 possibilities. Can you tell which desk is the one he needs? If you remember, the note was written in green ink. There's a similar green pen lying on the desk on the right, so this is most likely Amelia's desk. One Monday morning, a big sum of money went missing from the accountant's safe. 3 people were in the office at that time. Magnolia, the accountant, said she'd left for several minutes to go to the bathroom. Walker, a software manager, said he'd gone out for lunch and hadn't seen anything. Dawson, a cleaning man, said he'd been cleaning the second floor at the time. Can you figure out who's lying? It's Walker. He said he'd been on his lunch break, but it was still morning at that time. Tessa works in a clothing store in the suburbs. She doesn't usually have many customers. One day, she only had 3. The first person got a belt and a purse, the second got a dress, and the third customer got a hat. One of them was a criminal, and Tessa reported them to the police. Who is the criminal, and how did the girl understand it? The third customer gave her a $1,000 bill, and such bills don't exist. During her winter vacation, Serena went to the spookiest house in the neighborhood by herself. That was a mistake, because once she entered, the door got locked behind her. She saw 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there was a huge venomous spider. Behind the second door, there was a brick wall. Behind the third door, there was a huge lake. Which way should she opt for? She should take the third way. It's winter, and the lake is frozen. Wendy and her roommates at college decided to find jobs to earn some money for an epic trip to Asia on summer vacation. Wendy downloaded a special job search app. The app offered her to solve a riddle to prove she was human. Tomorrow, I'm sure here. Yesterday, I'm found as well. Today, I'm gone. What am I? Wendy gave her answer right away and passed the test. What did she say? The correct answer is the letter R. Wendy filled her profile and received 3 job offers right away. Josh needed help at his coffee shop because his barista went on vacation. Tricia was ready to give Wendy a job on her bee farm, and Dylan offered good money for washing his car. What job should Wendy choose? There's a flying cat at the bee farm, so it's probably not quite safe there. This car doesn't belong to Dylan. Take a look at the picture hanging on the wall of the gas station. This car is stolen, and Dylan is the thief. Wendy's best choice is the coffee shop. Wendy arrived at the coffee shop and saw something very weird right away. Can you see it too? There's a fish on the shelf with pastries. Wendy's new boss, Josh, said, "That was just a welcome prank to check how attentive you are." Josh gave her an apron and told her to get down to work. But Wendy gave him the apron back because she was sure that he was going to prank her again. Why? Take a look at the coffee shop logo and the logo on Josh's t-shirt. They don't match the logo on Wendy's apron. He challenged her attentiveness once again. A group of 6 students entered the coffee shop. Wendy was very nervous because they were her first clients. She asked, "What would you like to order?" The students decided to play a game with Wendy. The first guy showed her this pair of emojis, and Wendy cracked this puzzle right away. What did the guy order? A sandwich. Another guy showed Wendy these 2 emojis. Can you help her solve this? He ordered mashed potatoes. A shy student showed Wendy this combination. Can you crack it? He ordered fish fingers. And finally, the last student ordered this dish. Can you help Wendy figure it out? It's pepperoni pizza. 4 friends from that group of students ordered raspberry tea, but 2 remaining members of the group ordered different drinks. Rob took a glass of lemonade, and Rosie asked for a double espresso. The guys drank tea, and 5 minutes later, they got very sick and fainted. Wendy called the ambulance. She suspected that Rosie and Rob were behind this accident. So the girl asked them why they had ordered different drinks. Rob said he'd taken lemonade because he was allergic to blackberries. And Rosie said that she hadn't slept last night and needed a big dose of caffeine. Who's lying? Rob. He's allergic to blackberries, but the guys drank raspberry tea. At the end of her work shift, Wendy went to the coffee shop basement to check the supply of drinking water. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her back, and she had to find another way out. Wendy walked through a creepy tunnel and saw 3 doors. Behind the first door, there were powerful UV lamps. Behind the second door, angry dogs were waiting. And a tunnel behind the third door was on fire. What door should Wendy choose? The third one. She can take several large water bottles and put the flames out. Next day, Wendy got a task to deliver some books. When she arrived at the needed address, she saw a building with a metal door. The door was locked, but there was a note next to the combination lock. It said, Rose, Daisy, Aloe, and Sunflower. Can you help Wendy figure this passcode out? Here's a hint. One word on this list is different from the rest. Which one? Aloe. It's not a flower. Wendy entered the building. A cute old lady received the delivery. She offered Wendy extra tips if she managed to crack her riddle. A cloud is my mother. The wind is my father. My son is a cool stream, and my daughter is the fruit of the land. A rainbow is my bed, the earth my final resting place, and I'm the torment of man. What am I? Can you help Wendy earn some extra cash? The correct answer is rain. Wendy got a new task to organize a music concert in a jazz club. There, she met 6 musicians, and all of them had tattoos on their shoulders. They offered Wendy to guess who was the last one to join their group. Can you help her crack this puzzle? They use letters in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E. So, this drummer is the newest member of the band because his tattoo includes the letter F. Wendy's boss gave her an envelope with money and asked her to give it to Dan. Wendy asked, "But how can I recognize him?" The boss said Dan wore a red hat. Wendy entered the concert hall. It was full of people, and Wendy saw many guys in red hats. Can you count exactly how many? It's 8. But which of these guys is the real Dan? Nope, not this guy with Dan written on his t-shirt. And not this guy with Dan on his tattoo. The real Dan is over here. Look at his badge. It says Dan. The rest of the guys have different names on their badges. Early in the morning after the concert, Wendy drank a cup of coffee, felt unwell, and fainted. 10 minutes later, she woke up in a weird basement. 4 doors could lead her either to freedom or into a trap. Behind the first door, there were hungry bats. Behind the second door, there were rabid foxes. Behind the third door, there were venomous tarantulas. And behind the fourth door, there were venomous snakes. Which door should Wendy choose? She should choose the first door. Bats are nocturnal animals. They sleep in the morning. So, Rick wants to become a famous chef, but the cooking school only accepts applicants over 18. Rick's brother Jeff is twice older than Rick. Rick's sister Ruth is twice younger than Jeff. She turned 18 this year. So, Sherlock, can Rick apply for his dream school this year? Yep, he's 18 years old. Rick and Ruth are of the same age because they're twins. Rick has prepared all papers for the cooking school, but he still needs to get some work experience and recommendations to get accepted. He found 3 job ads. Bill has a small diner on the 4th floor of the local shopping mall. He needs help in the kitchen. Holly offers a part-time internship at her fancy sushi restaurant. But first, you need to pay $300 for a 2-week training. Sam needs an assistant in his noodle shop. Now, only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you tell which one? There's no 4th floor in this shopping mall. Holly's picture is hanging on the window of the restaurant, and it says scammer, so Rick should choose Sam. Sam liked Rick's skills and CV, but he wanted to test his intelligence before hiring him. That's why he gave Rick this list of ingredients and asked him to bring them from the pantry of the cafe. Unfortunately, Sam coded this list. Can you help Rick find all the products? Here's the first ingredient. I always try to catch up with my buddy Mustard. What am I? Have you guessed? It's ketchup. Here's the next one. My closest friend is peanut butter. What am I? The second ingredient is jelly. I'm a nut that is only delicious when fried or baked. What am I? Have you guessed? It's a donut. I am a bird, I am a fruit, and I am a person at the same time. What am I? A kiwi. I go along with most veggies and snacks beside me. What am I? I'm a dip. It's nothing personal. I'm a cup that doesn't hold any water. What am I? I'm talking about a cupcake here. A little pool with 2 layers of water around it. One is white and soft, and the other is dark and hard amidst a light brown grassy lawn with an outline of green grass. What's that all about? It's a coconut. It's hard to get a smooth bite, and you can chew me for a long time if I'm too dry. What am I? And the correct answer is jerky. I'm a green veggie that looks like a tiny tree. What am I? Can you guess? I'm broccoli. A time when they're green, a time when they're brown. But both of these times cause me to frown. But just in between, for a very short while, they're perfect and yellow and cause me to smile. What are they? Well, I'm sure you've guessed it's all about grapes. People confuse me with a vegetable, but I'm actually a fruit. I'm red when I'm ripe, and I'm sliced and served on burgers. What am I? A tomato or tomato. I'm the type of room you cannot enter or leave. I raise from the ground below. I can be poisonous or a delicious treat. What am I? Can you guess? All of this is about a mushroom. You throw away my outside and you cook my inside. Then you eat me from the outside and throw away what's inside. What am I? The correct answer is corn. I'm the kind of food that mummies like to eat. What am I? It's a wrap. Oh, really? Time for the final ingredient. I wear a red coat and have a stone inside my throat. Who am I? I'm a cherry. Hey, great job. Rick has brought all the ingredients. Sam hired him right away and asked him to take orders. Rick saw 3 customers in the cafe, but only one of them was a real human. Can you spot who exactly it was? This woman has gills just like a fish. She's a mermaid. And this guy's wearing trousers instead of a shirt, and he's trying to pay with shells. It's pretty clear he's not from this planet. Someone had stolen a tip box from Sam's cafe. The police arrived almost at once. Rick said that he could only see the back of the robber. He knew it was a woman. The next day, another robbery took place, but this time the guard managed to block the exit. The police arrived in a minute. They saw 4 women in the cafe. Can you tell who the thief was? It was Pam. She's the only one whose shoes are good enough for running. The police nearly arrested Pam, but she managed to escape. Rick ran after her and noticed she snuck into a school. Rick followed her. He noticed Pam's hoodie by one of the doors, so he entered the classroom. Rick faced 4 ladies who looked like Pam. Can you help him find the real Pam? There she is. She has neither books nor pens on her desk. 2 months later, Sam gave Rick a good recommendation. Rick applied for cooking school, and now he has to take some exams. Rick's current task is to cook a delicious soup. 3 pretty ladies are taking the same test with him. He liked them equally, but only one of them was trustworthy. Can you tell which one? Jenny has a bottle of poison in her spices collection. Fiona put push pins in her soup. It's very suspicious as well. Kelly didn't do anything wrong. She looks pretty reliable. After the soup test, Rick got a new task. He must tell which cupcake is in the very center of the tray. Can you help him? It's the pink one. Here's the next task. Which macaroon is in the very center? The purple one. Great job! What about this tray? Can you tell which cookie is in the very center? Ah, this one. Rick invited Kelly for dinner. It was their first date. He wanted to impress her and made dinner himself. He left all dishes in the kitchen and went upstairs to take a shower before Kelly's arrival. When Rick returned to the kitchen, he found that someone had eaten all the food. He questioned 3 suspects. Ruth said, "I'm on a diet. I don't eat after 5 p.m." Rick's dad said, "I've spent the entire evening outdoors removing dry leaves from the roof." Rick's brother Jeff said, "Bro, I've been training all day. The marathon is scheduled for tomorrow." Who's lying? Rick's dad. The roof is still covered with leaves. And Rick's dad is a pig.